Hello, I am Fiona Citkin with the second episode of Stories of My Life. You are welcome to our channel. Well, this episode is called Before I Was Born. A typical baby boomer, I've had my fair share of ups and downs growing up in Ukraine after the Second World War. Both of my parents received a higher education, graduating from a chemistry department of Dnipropetrovsk State University, just one day before the infamous day of June 22nd, 1941, when at 4 a.m. in the morning, the people of the whole Soviet Union heard from the radio that Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, had been bombarded by the fascist Germany, and they were de facto at war. Of course, my future father, Anatoly Vaitanik, has been drafted immediately, and he was sent to the Military Chemical Academy to learn how to defend the people and the country against the chemical weapons that the fascists were very widely expected to use. He was sent to the front a year later as a lieutenant. It so happened that several years later, he was among the liberators of Budapest, Prague, and Vienna as a captain and the commander of a special chemical defense division. When the war ended in victory, he was promised to be quickly promoted up the ranks to the major or colonel positions if he stayed serving in the army in the newly liberated countries. By the way, to serve abroad in Czechoslovakia, Germany, Poland, or Hungary was very prestigious and monetarily advantageous at the time. But he declined. Why? A liberator coming from a simple farmer's family originally, my father, Anatoly Vaitanik, had built a certain intuition. He had his built-in intuition. And this intuition was like a hunch. The hunch was that the liberation lasts for one day, and the next day, the occupation begins. He loathed to be a part of it with his inherited sense of right and wrong. So Anatoly Vaitanik demobilized and returned as a civilian to a war-devastated Ukraine, where food was in short supply and electricity on and off. However, he was eager to restart his life as a civil engineer, and he did. Anatoly Vaitanik married his old university friend, Raisa Chertkova, in Dnipropetrovsk, and he took her to the western Ukrainian city of Stanislav, now Ivano-Frankovsk. There, he got a good job at a chocolate factory, and I was born there. My point here is that I have inherited some good genes from my father, a sense of right and wrong, of justice, of defending the underdog rather than joining the top dog. This has been passed down to my daughter Helen and hopefully to her children as well. So much about my father. More later in the next episode of Stories of My Life. I also ask you to subscribe to the Brit channel, joining our over 15,000 existing subscribers. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye for now.